Hey guys, it's Anastasia here, and today I am doing my quarantine TBR video. So if you guys are looking for something to read or want some inspiration or want to participate in a discussion about these books with me once I start talking about them, you totally can. This is a video for that, so you guys know where I'm at, what I'm thinking, and we can all participate in reading together while we're all stuck self-isolating. Anyways, first book I would like to talk about is It by Stephen King. This is a big book. It is humongous, and there are a bunch of words per page, so it's taking a while for me to read. I'm a fifth of the way through. I've been kind of filming my reading experience and my thoughts mid-read on my Instagram, so I'll leave a link in the description for that, and you can see my saved stories. There's a whole It by Stephen King stories. So if you're curious about my feelings while reading the book, that's all there. Otherwise, you can try and read it with me, and I will eventually talk about this. It's just taking a while for me to finish reading it. Next book on my list is An Echo of Things to Come by James Islington. If you haven't seen, I have a video about the first book in this series, and it's a review, so if you want to go check that out, you can. But this is the second book, and I would like to read it, and I'm like half excited to read it because I did like the first book for the most part, but the ending kind of ruined the reading experience for me a little bit. So this is why I've been putting off reading this book. It's also a relatively big size, so while I'm reading It by Stephen King, I don't want to start another big book or another complicated book where I have to keep track of things because I'm already having trouble with that. So I've been leaving this book off to not have to read while I'm reading it. So that's that. Next on my TBR, and these aren't in any particular order, by the way, I'm just talking about the books, is A Game of Thrones and A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. I have read A Game of Thrones before. As you can see, it's really beat up, and I'm planning on rereading this book just so I have the proper knowledge and the proper remembrance of the events of the first book, so I can enjoy the second book. I remember this book being a bit tedious to read because I did start this book, I just never finished it, and so I have 2 books to reread now. Next is Dracula by Bram Stoker. I had a classics phase, and I read a bunch of classics, and one of my favorites was Pride and Prejudice, which I also have a review of, but I never got around to this one, although I bought it ages ago, and so I've had it on my TBR for quite some time, and at some point I'm going to get to it. It's just going to take a little bit, but I do have it. It's not too long, so maybe I'll read it after it. We'll see how exhausted it is gonna make me. Next, I have A Conspiracy of Truths by Alexandra Rowland, and this book I got kind of a while ago, and it's also a fantasy book, and I've wanted to read it and it sounds interesting, and just a bunch of other books that I want to read came up soon after I got this one, so hence why it's on my TBR now, is I'm hoping to get it read so I don't have it taking up space on my TBR where I'm interested in reading it. It's just there's so many other interesting books that I would like to read. Next is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, and this is another book that I got a while ago and I just haven't picked up, and I am going to read this book probably for sure and probably soon, because if you guys don't know, I have a Goodreads where I basically just have the books I've read and have them giving them the star rating. I don't write out reviews, 1 because I have this YouTube channel for that, but 2, I also have a website that hasn't been used for a while but that I do post reviews and stuff on, and also my Instagram page where I also write reviews there. So I have enough places to write reviews where I don't want my Goodreads to be for that, but I did want a place where my viewers can go and basically check out what my thoughts are on certain books quickly, so they can just go through it. And anyways, the point is, I marked all the books that I've read and rated them and stuff like that, and then I recently went back to just go check it out, mark what like I've been reading and stuff like that, and and because of that, I looked and it was like, oh, here's a recommended book for you, and this book popped up. And I already had this book. Like, I already knew that I was kind of interested in it. I just haven't read it yet. Like, I tried to read it at one point, and like the intro was a little dull, so I was like, I have other books I'd rather read. And then this one was there, and I was like, okay, well, in that case, I am going to definitely read this one. Definitely, it's gonna be closer to the top of my TBR because if it's recommended, then I'm probably gonna enjoy it. Next is The Sleeping King by Cindy Dees and Bill Flippin. This is a fantasy adult book. When I read the synopsis of it, it reminded me kind of Lord of the Rings, and I've never read Lord of the Rings, but based on my general knowledge of The Hobbit, which I did read, and Lord of the Rings, which I haven't, but I know from popular culture, this gave me that kind of vibe, but more fantasy and more of what I might enjoy rather than Lord of the Rings. If you want, here's the synopsis. I just don't want to read out to you guys, but you can pause it and read. His point being, this is now my TBR, but it's also like closer to the bottom just because, as you've seen my whole huge list, I have a bunch of books to read, and this one just doesn't strike as much of a chord with me, and also is a more newer purchase. And so I would rather get rid of my older ones first. Last, and probably least, is The Unwanteds by Lisa McCann. Now this is a book actually for a younger audience. I'm not the intended audience for this book, but my sister, she's 5 years younger than me, and when I started reading, she also wanted to start reading, or something in the same timeline she wanted to read. But she was younger, so she went for books that were intended for her age, like The Unwanteds. And recently, I was looking at her bookshelf. I was looking to see if she has anything that I might be interested in reading while stuck in self-isolation. And this book caught my eye, and we were just talking about like what it is and stuff like that. And she said that the first book was really good, but then the series slowly started to get worse. And I was curious, as someone who's more analytical about this stuff, but is not the intended audience for this book, whether I would see the same problems and whether I would agree with her, the books get worse. And so that's why this one is. It's not very long, and there's not many words per page, so I'm probably gonna read it at some point soon. Probably just to take a break from the more dense books like it, or like An Echo of Things to Come. And hence why this is on my TBR, because I thought it'd be something fun and enjoyable and a little more lighthearted than a lot of the other books that I have on my reading list. So yeah, that's that. That is the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed this TBR. I hope you guys will want to participate with me, and you can share your thoughts on the books either in the comments in this video or on future videos or on my Instagram page, where I'll be filming my reading experiences of all these books. Again, still stuck on it, but you can comment on that one too. So, without further ado, not gonna drag this video for too long. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all later. Bye!